guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the start of another reading vlog. For the month of March, I didn't plan out any specific reading vlogs. March is my birthday month, so it's kind of like a little treat to myself. I wanted to just mood read. So I thought I would film a realistic week of mood reading. Full disclosure, I'm filming this intro after I've already filmed this weekly vlog. My original intro that I filmed at the beginning of the week, unfortunately the footage got deleted. So I'm filming this after the fact, but at the start of the week, I was in the middle of two books. The first one being Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I have the physical copy, but I actually read this on my Kindle because the whole series just got added to Kindle Unlimited, which is super nice. But this is following the relationship between Lily and Lo. They've kind of grown up together as family friends and they both struggle with different addictions. Lo struggles with an alcohol addiction and Lily struggles with a sex addiction. They have this fake dating relationship to hide their addictions from their families, but behind closed doors, they both enable one another's addictions. So this is the first book that you're going to see me read for the week. The second book I'm in the middle of is actually an audiobook I'm listening to of Big Swiss by Jen Began. This one is about our main character Greta, who transcribes sessions between clients and this sex therapist, and she ends up becoming obsessed with this one client in particular who she refers to as Big Swiss. So those are the books you're going to see me start out the week with. I hope you guys enjoy this super chill week of mood reading. Let's just jump right into the vlog. I finished Addicted to You and I'm gonna give this book 3.5 stars. I'm so glad I knew before going into this book that this series takes a few books before you get into it and before it starts getting good. If not, I think I would have been pretty disappointed with this one. Not that it was bad, but it just wouldn't have lived up to how much people talk about this series and how beloved this series is just from this book alone. There were things about this book that I thought were so odd, like the flow of it in certain places just felt a bit choppy, and the way certain things progressed, it was like there was no progression. There was no lead up. It was just happening without backstory, and I don't know if we're gonna get that backstory in future books, but certain things like that just felt a bit odd to me. Also, the way new characters were introduced that I know are gonna be long-term characters based on hearing people talk about this series so much, it felt so forced and so unnatural. Like it was literally like we'd meet a new character and they're like, okay, I like you guys, I'm gonna start hanging around now, you're gonna see a lot of me. And I was just like kind of thrown off by that. I don't know, there was an explanation for some of that, but then some of it there wasn't. Some mixed feelings, but I can see where the series has a lot of potential, especially for found family, because when the family was all together, when the friends were all together, I did really like those elements of it. But I feel like these books in this series is just gonna have to grow on me the more I read it. It was also very sad just reading about these two characters struggling with addiction. You're in Lily's head and it's just very exhausting being in the perspective of someone who has an addiction. Overall, I liked it. I thought it was a solid book and I am excited to continue on with the rest of the series.
As in Anish Kapoor sculpture. Sit. Om Set.
I finished the audiobook of Big Swiss and I've decided I'm going to give it 3 stars. I feel very in the middle about it. I feel like there's probably an equal amount of things that I liked as well as things I disliked. Overall, it just wasn't really what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot more juicy, getting to hear all these sessions between different clients and the sex therapist and getting to hear Greta transcribe them all and just have all the tea and all the gossip. But that was really only like 10% of the book, and most of it focused on Greta's character outside of her being a transcriber and her backstory, and I just didn't love her as a main character, so that being the main focus of the book kind of took me out of it. I did enjoy Big Swiss's character, but her relationship with Greta was one that I couldn't really root for reasons that I'm not going to say because it's a bit spoilery, but I just couldn't get behind that, and that was also a good portion of the book. The ending, I feel like it kind of didn't know where it wanted to go. It was a bit open-ended, but it was fine. Like I thought the character development was good, the story kept my interest the whole time, and I did really enjoy what we did get to hear of the sessions between all the different clients and the sex therapist. So if it sounds good to you, give it a try. I just am somewhere in the middle with that one, but I'm super excited because the next book I'm planning to pick up is actually one of my most anticipated new releases for this year, and that is book 2 in the, I don't know the exact name of the series, I think it's like the Rebel Blue Ranch series, but it's the book that follows Done and Dusted, which is Swift and Saddle by Lila Sage. This book is following Wes, Wes, who's one of the brothers that we met in Done and Dusted, and I loved his character in that book. He's definitely the sweet golden retriever man, which is always my favorite type of man to read about in romance books. This, I believe, follows the romance between him and the interior designer he hires to help him renovate one of the houses he's fixing up on the ranch. So I am very excited to get back into my cowboy romance era. I loved Done and Dusted so much, so I'm hoping that I like this one just as much, if not more. I'm 27% into Swift and Saddled. I think you guys saw the clip of me starting it yesterday. I read a little bit during the day and then picked it back up and read a bit more last night. I'm reading it on my Kindle because when Done and Dusted came out, it was on Kindle Unlimited, and so I never bought the physical copy, but then it was taken off Kindle Unlimited. So I ended up just buying Swift and Saddled on my Kindle. I love these covers so much. They're beautiful, and I should get the physical copies at some point, but I didn't have the physical copy of Done and Dusted, so I didn't want to just have the physical copy of Swift and Saddled. So if I end up absolutely loving this series, I probably will just invest and buy all the physical copies of this series because these are some of my favorite covers ever. But as far as the actual book goes, like I said, I'm 27% of the way in, and this book has me so hooked already. I am obsessed. The first few chapters had me screaming, kicking my feet, giggling. I'm already so obsessed with Wes and Ada and their chemistry. Literally their first interaction, not even them like talking to one another, just them looking at one another. I was like, wow, it's there. The chemistry, the tension, off the charts. Something happened between them early on that normally I wouldn't be a fan of and would find it to be a little bit insta-lovey, but the way it was done so flawlessly. I'm already getting the 5-star feeling. I'm not even kidding you guys. I'm obsessed with this book already. It is so good and so cute. All good things as far as Swift and Saddled goes. Since I finished the audiobook of Big Swiss, I decided to start another audiobook. I always like to have one on in the background while I'm like doing chores or working or whatever, where I can just kind of like mindlessly listen. It just kind of helps me focus on whatever I'm doing. I have been wanting to pick up and read Big Little Lies by Liane Moriarty for so long. I am obsessed with this like subgenre of Australian, I don't know if I would call them thrillers, but kind of like suspenseful literary fiction, women's fiction, I guess, type books. Like Sally Hepworth, one of my favorite authors, read all her books, obsessed. Liane Moriarty is very similar to Sally Hepworth. The books I've read from her I also liked, but I knew that Big Little Lies was her most popular book, and there's the show adapted from it. So I was like, I need to read this book this year, and I love to listen to them on audio because the Australian narrator just really makes you feel like you are there, you're in the story. Already I am so obsessed with this book. I love the characters. They're all so unique and interesting. The story has me gripped. I love that this book is touching on really tough topics, but in a way that's not heavy-handed, and it's bringing up all these points and different perspectives and views that I normally wouldn't have even thought of, or I'm like, wow, that's a really good way to look at this situation. I think it's doing such a good job of adding new things to the conversation around really heavy and intense topics. It's written so well, and I'm just absolutely loving it so far. So I'm having a great time listening to that, and it has me so excited to watch the show after. I've heard good things about the show, but I don't know how similar it is to the book. All good things though as far as reading updates go. I'm loving everything that I'm reading. Before we get into some reading updates, I first wanted to give you guys a huge thank you because this week I hit 1K on YouTube. That has been my milestone goal that I've been trying to hit ever since starting my channel, so I was very excited to accomplish my goal, and I truly appreciate y'all's support so much. However long you've been here for my YouTube journey, I appreciate you guys watching my videos, subscribing to my channel so much. I know my content has evolved a bit over the years, but I'm so grateful that I got back into reading, fell back in love with it. That, along with chatting about books, are my new favorite things in the world. It means so much that I have this space to be able to do that with you guys. I'm just so grateful and so appreciative of the support, so thank you so much. You might be able to see the balloons behind me. I did a little shopping with my husband to celebrate. I went out and got some 1K balloons because I wanted to have a little photo shoot to commemorate the moment. So thank you really and truly so much. I appreciate you guys being here and sticking around to my channel, watching my videos, chatting about books with me, because it is just the best. As far as reading updates go, I did finish Swift and Saddled last night, and I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. Like I mentioned, those first few chapters really pulled me in and I felt were so strong. I was so hooked. The chemistry between the two characters was there from their first interaction. I was kicking my feet, screaming, giggling. I was so giddy at the start of the book, and not that I think it got worse after that, but I just think the book kind of lost steam along the way and I was less interested the more I read. But overall, it was still really good and really enjoyable. I liked both of our main characters a lot. I feel like they both had elements to their characters that I found to be really relatable to me personally, so really enjoyed reading about that. I feel like if you're looking for a good cowboy romance, I would highly recommend this series. I love Lila Sage so much. I follow her on Instagram and I feel like you can just tell how much she cares about her books. I feel like her books are her babies, and I feel like she has so much potential as an author to get even better and better. I know this is her first series, so I can't wait to see what she ends up doing after this. I'm just so excited to see where she goes as an author. I'm also still listening to and loving the audio of Big Little Lies. The Australian sense of humor is just so funny without even trying to be funny. The characters are so interesting and I'm so invested in this story. I don't think I'm gonna finish that audiobook before this vlog ends, just because it's quite a lengthy one and I like to kind of save my audiobooks to have on in the background when I'm working or when I'm doing chores. So I'm just listening to that one here and there, but loving it so much, and I'm very intrigued to watch the show once I finish the audiobook. As far as what I'm gonna pick up next, it's gonna be Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I am so excited to get into this. I definitely don't think I'm gonna finish this, but I'm gonna read as much as I can so that when I close out the video, I can give you guys all my thoughts and opinions for as much as I have read in it. This book is so different to anything Ali Hazelwood has done before, so I'm very intrigued as an Ali Hazelwood stan to see how I feel about this. I also have been so curious seeing other people's opinions on this book, because I feel like some people love this book, some people hate it, some people are in the middle. Everyone's opinions are just all across the board, so I can't wait to see where I fall, what I think of it. Like I said, this is so different to her other books and I love everything else she's done, so I can't wait to see how her writing and her quirkiness kind of translates to this paranormal romance. So very excited. Gonna read as much as I can in this today and then give you guys my thoughts on it. Hi guys, I thought I would close out the vlog with a little wrap up of everything that I read over the course of the week. The first book I finished is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is the first book in the Addicted Calloway Sisters series. I've been wanting to start this series for so long because I feel like people are such diehard fans of it and I just wanted to know what the hype was about. I am glad I knew going into this though that this series takes a few books before it starts to pick up. Overall, I did like this one. I gave it 3.5 stars. I can see the potential where I feel like the more I read and the more time I spend with the characters, the more they'll grow on me. I definitely can see the potential for the found family element, but after this book alone, I didn't feel super attached or super invested in what was going on with the characters. It was definitely very hard to read about these characters struggling with addictions, and a lot of the things they did as a result were very toxic. I also felt like the flow of this book was a little bit off at times. Stuff was kind of told to us without a whole lot of build up, so I'm hoping that in future books we're going to get more backstory on certain things. I also feel like the way new characters were introduced to us felt kind of forced and unnatural, but I'm hoping as the series progresses we're going to get more backstory and things are going to start to make sense a bit more. So overall, I did like it. I'm excited to continue on with the series and see where it goes. Then I finished the audio of Big Swiss by Jen Began. I gave this book 3 stars. There's probably an equal amount of things I liked as well as things I didn't like about it. I'm somewhere in the middle. I really didn't care for our main character, so when the book was kind of focusing on her and her backstory, I wasn't that invested and I was kind of checked out of the story. But when it was more so about her transcribing these sessions between patients and the sex therapist, I was really interested in that. But unfortunately, that part of the book was just such a small part. I did really enjoy Big Swiss's character, but her role in the book and her relationship with Greta was one I couldn't really root for reasons that I'm not going to say because they are spoilers. Somewhere in the middle with that one. I found it to be okay. I can definitely see where people would like it more if it's more for you. If it sounds interesting, give it a try, but I can also see where it wouldn't work for some people. So just very mixed feelings, middle of the road for that book. Then I read Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. This is the book that follows Done and Dusted, and I was so highly anticipating this new release because I loved Done and Dusted. I gave this book 4 stars and I still stand by that rating, but after thinking back on it, there were a few things that happened at the end that I'm kind of like, wait, we never got an answer to that. A few things during the spicy scenes that Wes would say that kind of cringed me out, but I still don't think I would want to give it a rating lower than 4 stars. The book started out so strong for me. The first few chapters, the chemistry between the characters, the tension between them was so good. I was getting the 5-star feeling at first, but I do feel like the more the story progressed, it did kind of lose steam a bit along the way, and I wasn't as interested and I wasn't loving it as much. But the first few chapters really hooked me and pulled me in. Overall, I liked it, and I am really excited for the rest of the series. I cannot wait for book number 3 to be released because it's about a couple that I've been highly anticipating their story. But overall, I did like the couple, the characters, and the storyline in Swift and Saddled. And then I started the audiobook of Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I'm still in the middle of this one, but absolutely loving it. The characters are so interesting and I'm so invested in the story. It's kind of leading up and alluding to this big event that happens at this school fundraiser night. I don't know what exactly it's leading up to and what's going to be revealed, but depending on what the big climax of the story is, I feel like if I enjoy it and it's done well, this could potentially be a 5-star read for me. But if it negates some of the feelings I'm having right now and kind of changes how I think about certain characters, there's a chance it could just be like in the 4-star range. But so far, really loving it and really invested. And the last book I picked up and read this week is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I'm still in the middle of it. I'm only on page 89, but I feel like I've made enough of a dent in it to give you guys my first impressions. When I went into this, I feel like I was most curious about it for 2 reasons. For one, I was really interested to see how Ali Hazelwood's usual quirky writing style was going to translate into something totally different from what she's normally written about. And I was also just so curious to see how I was going to feel about it, because I feel like a lot of times I can kind of gauge how I'm going to like a book based on how people who I have similar tastes to are rating it. But I kind of have found that everyone's ratings and opinions of this book are just all across the board. So I was like, I'm just going to have to read this for myself. And so far, it definitely feels like an Ali Hazelwood book. Like her voice, her quirkiness is there. I'm really enjoying the world building in this, and the storyline is very interesting, but I don't think I'm connected with the characters so far. It's kind of taken me a while to get into. I kind of thought I would have read more than I have so far. I keep getting distracted and not really motivated to continue on with it. I'm kind of hoping something happens that just really pulls me in and makes me connect to the characters, because right now we're kind of at a point where they're enemies, and I don't know, I just want something to happen that makes me feel like there's a love connection between them. So we'll see. Stay tuned for my wrap up at the end of the month to see my final thoughts and rating on Bride. So that's going to conclude this vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Let me know how you feel about these realistic weekly type reading vlogs. I really enjoy filming them. I feel like they're so chill, no pressure. I can just kind of pick up what I'm feeling and let you guys know realistically how much I get through. So it's a lot of fun for me to film. Let me know what you guys think of these videos. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave me a comment. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are not already, so that you don't miss out on any of my future book videos. And I will see you guys very soon in the next one. Bye guys.